something you can't fix.
If you can't fix what's broken, you'll go insane.
It's Jay and Adam. It's Preview.
It's Preview's Fix It with Adam and Jay.
Hey, peaches! Oh, welcome to Fix It, where friends don't let friends fix pop culture alone.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Jay, and you're our listener.
Hey there, listeners.
Ho there, listeners.
Whip, listeners.
Swinging across the city, listeners. That's right, everyone grab your grappling hooks. We're going a-swinging. Yep.
That's what Spider-Man uses.
Listeria, everyone is getting grappling hooks.
Everyone's getting grappling hooks.
Yep. Check your mailbox today, everyone, for your
wow.
Listeria sponsored grapple hooks.
We are not responsible for any damages and or injuries that occur with your Listeria officially licensed grappling hooks.
I don't know about that. I mean, we can be, I'm not going to have everyone sign an NDA. That seems like so much work.
Oh, no, as citizens of Listeria, it's automatic.
Yes. Yes. Your compliance is implied.
And also mandatory.
Yes, indeed. Welcome to Fix It. I'm Jay. That's Adam. You may know us. You may know us from the amazing neighborhood-friendly
YouTube.
Let me take that one more time.
Okay, one more again.
Welcome to our podcast, Fix It. I'm Jay, that's Adam. You may know us from your friendly neighborhood YouTube reaction channel, Previewed, where Adam and I watch and react to all the things across all things nerdy. But this is
Indeed.
Our podcast, Fix It, where every week Adam and I take a piece of pop culture that maybe missed the mark, maybe didn't quite get there, maybe
tried to save the girl and didn't quite put the web in the right place, depending on the continuity in which you saw that.
And we fix it.
Thwap!
I will say, not a perfect film, but what an evocative moment.
Oh, yes.
Wowzers Bowsers with a top hat on. I don't like that sequence.
Well, it's better. It's more realistic than the comic version.
Fair.
Because in the comic version, the same thing happens, but she breaks her neck.
Sure.
So there's a crack of her neck snapping instead of just hitting the pavement.
For those of you who did not read the description and merely pressed play because you were so excited for a new episode this week.
Or you saw the amazing thumbnail that AP made for this episode.
Yes, indeed.
Have you seen it yet?
I have not seen it yet. I try to be surprised by
It's
him.
on par with...
I'm sure it is.
Thumbnail that AP
I'm
made for us.
sure it is. Adam and I are going to be fixing this week The Amazing Spider-Man 2. The Andrew Garfield-led Spider-Man. Since the second Into the Spider-Verse is coming out this week, we are well in the future as Adam and I are getting episodes banked in the can for when the young baby comes. So you're seeing this a little bit farther down the road, and we're in the middle of bonus action production, so all of the stuff is over at Adam's house. So here we are.
It's the same place we shoot the reactions, but now there's a gray screen.
Oh,
Ooh.
spooky!
This is what we use when Amanda auditions for all the things for the movie part she gets.
Yeah, we're not necessarily in my bat cave at the moment, but as you can plainly see, we are. So we're fixing Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yes.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I did not like this one when I saw it in the theaters.
You didn't?
No.
Oh wow!
Because I actually really enjoyed the first Amazing Spider-Man. I think it's a great flick.
You keep defending this hill of the Amazing Spider-Man.
Yes. And I think the No Way Homing of this movie, of this franchise in particular, brought home the point that I've been saying, that Andrew Garfield is the best Spider-Man, but he's not necessarily the best Peter Parker.
No.
But man, is he a good Spider-Man.
Well, they wrote him as more of a having fun being Spidey. He was having fun in these films being Spidey. He was friends with the police force. He's friends with the fire department. He had nicknames for people in the fire department.
Yeah, man, it's great.
He's quipping all over the place.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's the best.
Sure.
It's like, it gives full-on go-get-'em Spidey vibes in a way that like truly tickles my heart. But this movie in particular, I guess because I hadn't seen it since the theaters.
Sure.
And this rewatch, I was not looking forward to. But I guess I just like had completely forgotten how little of a plot this movie actually has.
It's terrible.
It's not that it's terrible. It's just it doesn't exist. There's no plot. Everything happens to Spider-Man. First of all, starting the film with the reason why his parents left in the first place.
Yeah.
And tying his research into like what inevitably made Spider-Man is the weirdest pull for this movie franchise.
Yeah, it's like a nice 5-minute scene of them dying on an airplane.
It's totally unnecessary.
Because that's what you go to a Spider-Man film for. Seeing his parents,
Yeah.
who have never been in the picture and really in any continuity, really, be the opening act of the movie.
Well, this was the kind of stuff that like got kind of tossed in during like Ultimate and stuff. Like there's some parent stuff and
Oh, sure. But again, information that can be learned later.
yeah.
I come to a Spider-Man film, I want to see Spider-Man, Spider-Man-ing. Because the opening of Spider-Man is good. He's just dropping, because it goes from the logo on a black screen to the logo on his back on the rippled suit. Like, oh, he's just straight, following right.
Yeah.
Oh, crap, that's cool.
Yeah,
that
it's
was
real
cool.
good.
That was cool.
It's really good.
But no, we got to open the movie on their murder on an airplane.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. I'm actually very happy with my fix.
Oh, Jay came prepared, everybody. Jay, I have not seen Jay be this confident in one of his fixes in a couple of weeks. He came in strutting and be like, Adam,
it took. I mean, we had to push.
Second. I'm going second, you guys.
We had to push back this record by a day because I was just like, I'm just not ready yet. I'm just not ready, and that doesn't happen very often. But I was just like, this is one that like. I could have. This franchise could have gone the distance, and I feel like that's what frustrated me the most about it.
Sure.
About the second movie, so like doing this one correctly to me it's personal.
I'm getting that.
But before we hop into the Amazing Spider-Man 2, normally this is the part of the show in which Adam and I kind of just check in with each other and just kind of talk shop. And,
Usually.
Just give you a snapshot of where our lives at. But this is a banked episode for when I have a baby. So in lieu of us saying, "How you doing?" Brian, our producer Brian, has produced a list of fun little topics of conversation that can maybe deepen our friendship,
Possibly,
maybe
or
learn
ruin it.
or ruin it.
We don't know.
Like last time,
We don't know.
Last time we've been like, "Oh, where do you want to go?" And you're like, "I don't know, Vancouver."
Hey, man, I've heard good things about Vancouver.
So in order to get the topic of conversation from our lovely Brian, he's given us a whole list of 20, and so I'm gonna roll a d20, and the last one has been replaced so far. 17.
17. What movie or TV show are you personally super excited for to do on Fix It?
To do on Fix It?
Yes.
On this show.
On this show. We're close to 50 episodes at this point, and we actually had a meeting with Brian last night, and we were like, look at all the things we've done. And then we were looking at the list of all the potential movies we can do in the future, because when we were brainstorming stuff for last year, like, we could do this movie, we came up with a list of like 100 movies, and we've barely touched that list.
Yeah.
Because most of them haven't been synergistic for what things are coming out, and the planning for synergy works. So we're going to keep doing that. So that there was a whole bunch of movies. Like, holy crap, there's just so many movies we still haven't done. There's so much left to do.
Yeah, there's so much. Do you have one in particular?
Well, we already did Power Rangers.
Yeah.
And we did do Assassin's Creed, which is still a banked episode you guys haven't heard yet. So those are a couple.
Yeah, you were really excited about fixing that one.
Because I had the idea so long ago.
Oh, okay.
I saw the movie, it's like, oh man, you just
that movie
do
was-
this. Why didn't you just do that? And then it's like, oh, then we came up with this podcast. Like, an outlet for my genius!
Yeah.
So there's been a couple movies I've had in my back pocket for years.
I know mine.
Okay, what's yours?
And I was kind of hoping that it was going to win. It got extraordinarily close, but I think it's gonna take. I think it's gonna take a couple of weeks of work in order to like actually find an in.
Mm-hmm.
But I would be. I'm really excited to fix the Matrix series eventually.
Ooh, just because there are multiple fixes for each of those three films now.
Sure.
And by the three films, I mean the second, third, and fourth one.
Like there's multiple fixes from us.
No, we could. You can fix them different ways depending on.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I see. No, I'm not 100% sure which way I want to come at it, but I just know that will be a really fun exercise.
Oh yes.
To do on this show, because that franchise is very near and dear to my heart.
Yeah.
And I just and I'm so disappointed. Like I have it's one like the Matrix sequels are kind of like my guilty pleasure movies.
Sure.
In that I was like, these are bad, but I like this is just so cool.
There's a lot of cool things.
And the
in
new
them.
one, I didn't, there were moments that I kind of liked.
Oh sure, I liked the new one. I was one of the few.
But it's kind of embarrassing to admit that. Like
A little bit.
the Matrix, right? Like, the Matrix is really cool, right? And everyone's just like, not really anymore. And I'm like, but it's so, I just think that no other first movie has more potential
Oh, sure.
for expansion than the first Matrix.
Oh yeah.
Like,
And they did expand it in like the Animatrix. There was some really
yes,
good ideas.
and the MMORPG had
Yes.
some really fun
There's
story
some
beats.
really, really good ideas from the Matrix
There's-
franchise, but yeah, the potential was there, and they just, I don't know.
I think the Wachowskis world builded completely wrong in the second two.
Oh sure,
I think that's really what
They-
it comes down to.
They built in the wrong direction.
I just think they don't. I don't think they realized what the fun was,
Or they got too
bogged down in this
bogged down in this
in the specificity of it. And I was like, we're in a computer. I was like, what else is going on in a
or
computer?
the metaphor of all the things.
Maybe that's it. I just feel like they could have been so much more fun.
They could have.
They're like, the human society. I'm like, not really worried about that. I was like, not really concerned. I was like, Zion, don't really care. I was like, I want to know more about the intricacies of what's going on in this system.
Oh sure. I mean, if you wanted to tie Zion into that, like its place in the system of things of how. But spending the first 45 minutes at a giant group orgy in a cave.
I'm gonna be hard pressed to not make. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Nah, man.
Yeah, that orgy sequence was so
weird.
bad. It was.
That was weird.
It was really.
That was weird.
But I think that's the moment collectively that everyone went, "Oh, this isn't very good."
Uh-oh.
Oh.
No, that was no.
Because
that's
I think
the uh-oh
if
moment.
you talk to a lot of people about the Matrix, Matrix 2, they go, "Yeah, that orgy sequence," and I'm like, "Yeah, I think that's where everyone kind of went." This is supposed to be sexy and fun, and I hate it. I hate it.
Everyone's dancing in slow motion, Jay.
I didn't need to see Keanu Reeves' butt. I didn't need to see it.
No?
Nah.
Why not? That's the butt of a man who does kung fu, Jay.
I think they were given that during that sex scene. I think they were given the direction be intimate, you don't even really know how to do it in real life, and it just comes across weird and.
Okay.
It's just not. It's so not sexy.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I know. Oh,
you just feel like you're watching a science experiment.
Yeah.
I don't like this. I don't like it. It's like it's like kissing your sister. I don't know. It feels weird.
Does it feel weird?
Not right. It ain't right.
Have you kissed your sister? Do you know?
You gotta know how your sister kisses, right?
Thank you for playing. I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure.
Yeah,
I wasn't sure.
You were kind of. That was like, I'm walking out into the ice here. I hope I don't fall in.
I'm gonna lob this
and
one,
I'm
Jay.
gently catching and gently throwing back, but also realizing, get off the ice, bud. Yeah. It's springtime. No. Get out of there. I hate us too. But yeah, I think that's the one I'm most looking forward to fixing. Because we've already covered a lot of my big ones. Like Ninja Turtles was kind of near and dear to my heart a little bit.
Yeah.
And that was also the episode where you and I figured out that how much we love doing this show.
Yes.
I was like, oh yeah, all I've been thinking about is Ninja Turtles. And that's awesome.
Yes, because they're awesome.
Yeah.
They are awesome more than they're not. And we still have the 2 Michael Bay films to go. We haven't even touched those yet.
Yeah, but here's the thing though. I just feel like we've kind of trotted on that ground, in that how do we fix those Michael Bay movies and not just do what we've already and not just present what we've already presented.
Oh, there's plenty of things to do in the Turtle universe.
Sure. I don't know. That'll be
I think
a tricky thing to navigate.
Is we take more elements from the Michael Bay thing. It's like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing, because I've never seen them.
I think that's the ticket in though. I think
We just take their elements and we rearrange their puzzle pieces and be
you remake these turtle movies, but they still have to be Michael Bay movies. I think that's the
You
end.
can do a Turtles Michael Bay film.
No, I know.
That's not
I know.
easy, but like you can use that cinematography and like the slow spin around.
And
I do love that shot. The slow spin, especially when
they're
from Bad Boys 2, they're just standing up like, oh
Yes.
no, and the camera spins like, oh, whoa,
You
yes,
can
Daddy, give me some more.
You can
Ooh.
say what you want about Michael Bay as a filmmaker, but like the guy knows how to shoot explosions.
Yes, he does.
And like action sequences, especially car chases and stuff. No one does a better car chase than Michael Bay. I'm so sorry.
I still haven't seen Ambulance, and apparently that movie's actually nuts.
Yeah. I like Michael Bay became a punchline and kind of like a 4-letter word in filmmaking, but I don't necessarily agree to it all the time. Like, remember The Island? That was fun. That was a fun one.
Oh, was it?
I liked it.
He did that one?
Yeah. Not a bad flick.
Meh.
You know.
Clones. You gotta know how you kiss.
That movie would never be made nowadays.
No.
But maybe for Netflix or something.
Possibly.
But I think the moral of the story is we have so much gas in this tank.
We do, Jay.
We do.
We do.
For those of you who are wondering, all those haters on the internet who think we're running out of gas.
Drop it into fourth, Jay. As for my picks, one we're doing soon, Captain Marvel.
Oh.
Because I want to get Carol's moment right. Ever since I saw that film, I wanted to get Carol's moment right.
Yeah.
I felt like that when she at the end when she goes binary, I was like,
Yeah.
man, this moment could have been so cool.
Yeah.
And it's just not.
Well, I think we talked about this, or I was talking about it with Kimberly, I think. They knew what to do with Brie as Captain Marvel. Like, she's awesome as Captain Marvel. When she's like just a full-on superhero, like she's a superhero. I don't think they really knew what to do with her Carol Danvers. They really had no...
Yeah.
They weren't really sure how to make that land and how to make that fit. They just weren't totally aware. So yeah,
their storytelling device didn't help them either.
Yeah, they need to
Amnesia,
build
flashbacks, all sorts of stuff.
If they can build to her moment better. Like I totally agree with that.
But honestly, the true answer is the sequel trilogy.
I'm not looking forward to that.
I'm dreading and also looking forward to it.
Okay. Here's why I'm dreading it. I am worried that you are going to get your tires stuck in the mud, and they're just going to spin.
They're not.
Okay.
I am far enough away from it now that I can argue.
Are you though? Because anytime either of us casually brings up the sequels when we're like trying to make stuff, we both we have a 45-minute conversation.
We can just start going.
Yes.
But I think in this format, I can come with PowerPoint presentation ready to go, and dispassionately, at least a little bit, be like, hey. This is why this movie offended me personally. This is why, and this is
an airing of grievances.
Yes, it's Festivus for the rest of us. Yes, it's Space Festivus.
And then
here are the plot points that make no sense.
And then feats of strength.
And
then you and I wrestle.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then this is how we make this movie better. These, you set your trilogy up on a false premise. This is how you change it, and you can take some of the same elements if you wanted to, but there's boom, boom, boom. Oh, look, now everyone wins instead of half of the audience.
Yes.
That type. Because I just want it out of my brain. That's kind of like, I just want to be able to like, hey, this is what my idea would be, and then like, I can let go now.
Yeah. I think those have to be live shows.
Yes.
Because I think you're going to need an audience in front of you to feel that like when you're losing them. Do you know what I mean?
I won't lose any of them.
Okay. I will believe it when I see it, homeboy.
Maybe one into my backpack.
I will believe it when I see it.
I'm yodeling the whole class.
Personally seen you ruin dinner parties over Star Wars, so okay.
Everybody in. We're going through Dagobah. Everybody going for a run.
Okay. I will never forget being that guy after seeing The Last Jedi. Everyone was like, oh, that was pretty good. I kind of like this. Oh, blah, blah, blah. And everyone was like, what'd you think, Jay? I was like, oh, that was dog crap. And I'm mad at all of you for kind of liking it. Yeah. And I'm out of here. Deuces.
Well, the moment
and everyone went, oh, man. I could feel the temperature change. And I was like, I need to go.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm ruining all your fun.
When Amanda and I got done watching The Force Awakens.
I didn't hate The Force Awakens that much. I kind of had fun.
Sure, a lot of people kind of had fun with that one. I truly hated it.
Because we got to see the Millennium Falcon. And there was possibility of something of an interesting
We
thing.
We didn't know yet that everything was leading to a whole lot of nothing.
Yes.
So there was more potential there.
Yes.
But was all squandered. One of the other reasons why I knew Amanda was the one was when we got out of the theater. Like, we got into the car. I put the key in the ignition, and I just couldn't turn the car on because I just lost it for about 10 minutes. But the first time I've ever like truly nerd ranted, I was so upset, and Amanda just was closer to me than you are right now, and took it and was okay with it, and she said it's gonna be okay. You're right. She weathered this just force storm that came out of me, like, yeah, they killed Han, and I just couldn't. And she's like, "Did you get that out of your system? You feeling better?" I was like, "I do feel better. I'm really upset. I'm really crying." So okay, let's go home. Like, okay, let's go home. And she was a champ. And I was like, "You're a good woman. I appreciate you so much."
It's like after I saw Ready Player One.
Ooh.
And Kimberly was like, "I had fun." I'm like, "You're walking home." The movie was a betrayal.
So,
All right.
The possibilities of the future are endless.
Yeah, guys.
So many movies to fix.
Look, thank you guys so much for listening and watching. We love making this show. I guess
really
that's
do.
the moral of the story. Sometimes scheduling it, and sometimes, it's logistically sometimes pretty difficult. But that all aside, the general gist of it, love it.
It's a lot of fun.
Love it. All right.
Okay, we need to get
gotta move into Spider-Man.
Gotta go. Spider-Man 2.
2.
The Amazing. He's so amazing.
He's so amazing.
For ease and speed, Jay, do you want to do the plot drop?
I will do the plot drop. Yes. Okay. Plot drop. Spider-Man 2.
The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
You're right. The Amazing Spider-Man 2. They're very different.
Very, very different.
Yeah.
One's at the top of the charts. The other one,
Yeah.
not even close.
Yeah, it's not. Boo. So, Peter Parker is fighting crime as Spider-Man in New York City. We also get a flashback to Peter's parents, who are trying to make an escape and leave Peter with May and Ben, and they leave and are murdered on their private jet.
Yeah,
However they got that. They get murdered on their private jet, all before Peter's father is able to send data to quote-unquote Roosevelt. All the while, there is a will they won't they between Peter and Gwen Stacy, played by
Emma Stone.
Emma Stone. There we go. I almost said Emma Roberts. The wildly different. Emma Stone. And honestly, they have so much chemistry that it just leaps off the screen.
It really does.
Gwen decides to go to Oxford for a summer program and is not stopped by Peter until she is at the very end. Well, you know what I'm saying.
Yes.
While fighting crime, Peter saves a pedestrian named Max
Dillon.
who becomes obsessed with Spider-Man, and he is a janitor at Oscorp.
No, he's an electrical engineer at Oscorp, wasn't he?
He's something. I thought he was a janitor.
Oh, I thought he was electrical
Oh,
engineer.
no, I'm getting lost in my fix.
Uh-oh.
He's an electrical engineer. You're absolutely correct. That's why he has all the blueprints. I'm thinking of some... I'm sorry, I'm lost in my own sauce.
Uh-oh.
And through meeting and becoming friends with Harry Osborn, which is not really explained that well in this movie. He's just there, and we're, as an audience, supposed to know that he's Harry Osborn, so they're friends, even though he was not in the first movie.
Not even mentioned in the first movie.
His father, Norman, has passed away, and he is taking over Oscorp, but he is also very ill. In an accident in Oscorp, Max falls into a pit of electric eels in an experiment and is turned into Electro. Peter fights Electro and stops him, and he's sent back to Oscorp. Norman figures out through research that he might need Spider-Man's blood in order to heal him. And so he tries to get Peter to get him to introduce him to Spidey. Spidey comes, realizes what's going on, and does not and it realizes that it'll probably kill him.
Yep.
All the while, he's doing research into what happened to his parents, and he's eventually finds his dad's private lab in the abandoned subway station, which admittedly is pretty cool.
In its own thing is very cool. In a
Yeah.
Spider-Man film?
And
Yeah,
he
kinda-
finds all of the
okay.
data and finds out that his father was the lead on dealing with the spiders
Mm-hmm.
and encoded their DNA just to his family line, and so that's why it worked out for Peter, and it would have killed Harry.
Yep.
Harry, in order to get some of the spider venom that was apparently in storage in Oscorp, frees Max to get him to basically take over the board at Oscorp, get the serum, and turn himself into the Goblin. Which is so stupid.
Very dumb. And he looks bad.
Peter fights Max, defeats him again,
Kills him.
and then Harry kills Gwen. And pretty much that's the end of the movie. That's basically it.
That's it.
Like, straight up, that's it.
Yep.
There's not much more to it than that.
Nope.
It's overly simple by half. I have so many complaints about this movie.
Yep.
First and foremost,
Yes, Jay.
I think Dane DeHaan gives one of the worst performances in any comic book movie ever.
His Harry is not great. It's really not
His
great.
Harry is not believable.
Nope.
I don't believe they're friends.
Not even close.
It's not structured well.
Nope.
It's not introduced well.
It's not.
And also, when you have Andrew Garfield, who, as an actor, never does anything halfway, and is maybe one of the best actors of our generation,
Quite possibly. He's very good.
he's truly enigmatic. And you have a scene where he and Norman are like on the waterfront talking about Spider-Man and talking about life and stuff, and I'm like, Andrew Garfield is giving an enigmatic performance right now, and Dane DeHaan is wearing sunglasses. That is the only thing he's bringing to the party right now. And honest to God, I know this is like this show is we try to like keep a light and positive air
Constructive notes about things.
to a generally negative concept. But I don't like to like single out actors a lot, but like his performance like truly gets under my skin. And for me personally, them structuring him as like the original Goblin
it's
shows a fundamental misunderstanding of what people want
Yes.
from a Green Goblin.
Yes.
And the stature of that character in the storyline of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
This movie as a whole, to me, had a huge misunderstanding of like what's cool about Spider-Man.
Sure.
And what fans are interested in when it comes to Spider-Man.
Well, they got some of it right.
Yes. The scenes between Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone
Yeah.
are truly incredible.
They're great.
They set up Peter and Gwen.
Mm-hmm.
When they first announced they were going to do Gwen Stacy, I was like, that is so stupid. Especially when Emma Stone, she's got red hair. Why isn't she not MJ? And then I was like, oh no, it's actually very important that she's Gwen Stacy.
Yes.
This is an aspect of the Spider-Man story that I feel like gets overwritten a lot.
Yes.
And so like that's really subtle and really cool. And they really make me fall in love with them as a couple together.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh yeah, like MJ will always be number 2 to Gwen. And that's fascinating.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting dynamic. And then you also have, I'm sorry, but Sally Fields is Aunt May.
Yeah.
She's the best Aunt May we've ever had.
Yes, she is.
She's incredible.
That scene in the middle of that movie, when she's "You are my boy," that's
cried.
the best scene of the movie.
It's one of the best scenes in all of Spider-Man.
It's so good.
It's so good. And then you have all these extraneous, and here's the thing, Jamie Foxx is capable of a very good performance.
Jamie Foxx is a great actor.
The art direction of his character in the beginning, I'm going to be honest with you, it almost feels racist. Like, it felt like, it was like, I was like, it feels like he's wearing a costume. Like, they're making a comment here. It felt very Urkel-y in a way that I was like, this doesn't fit.
He doesn't groom himself well. He's got a gap in his teeth. I felt insulted.
Yes.
Like that's not.
As an audience member, I was insulted.
That's not Max Dillon. Why would you do that to Jamie Foxx? He's an amazing actor. Why are you starting this character there? Because And just flashing forward to No Way Home,
where he's very interesting.
he's extremely interesting,
and layered and
Yes.
has a lot going on.
yes,
And then it's
in a little screen, in the little screen time that he's able to have, because there's so many other people in that movie. Just like, yo, man, Jamie Foxx, that's the character he should have been the whole time. That's really cool.
I was like, oh yeah, his Electro could have been. I mean, did you use a pun? Electrifying. It could have been very interesting and very cool
if he actually made choices when he became, got the powers instead of just like a neglected fan. Come on, man.
Yeah,
that's not Electro.
Yeah,
that's not. Jamie Foxx is better than that.
Yeah,
come on, write to him.
Jamie Foxx is so much better than the performance he's able to give in this movie.
But then on top of that, it's the fact that they try to layer in all of the other Spider-Man characters.
Yes.
Felicia Hardy's in this.
Yeah.
Spencer Smythes is in this.
Uh-huh.
Like, they allude to all the other bad guys in the R&D section of Oscorp.
They sure do.
Like, they are trying
they're
hard.
They swing so hard for Sinister Six. Like, they swing so hard for it. And
they've done nothing to set it up.
The Goblin is one of my favorite characters. Like, the Norman Osborn has always been such, and I think that like comics at writ large, especially like in the mid 2000s towards now, like did a lot of really interesting things with Norman Osborn. He's a very complicated man, and it's like he's basically like halfway between Lex Luthor and the Joker.
Yes, he is.
It's kind of, which is a fascinating dynamic, and the fact to just completely write him out of a Spider-Man story.
Yes.
Is insane.
He was actually teased at the end of the first movie.
Yes.
In an after credits scene, he goes to talk to Doc Connors.
Yeah.
And even though it's not his face isn't shown, we know that's Norman.
It's truly.
And then he's like, "And I dead. Harry, take over my place in the story." Why?
If they did to the Green Goblin, like in a Batman movie, if they did that to the Joker, the same kind of like thing, like same kind of like write off a little bit. There would be rioting in the streets.
Yeah,
and I feel like it's a equatable character from a like importance.
Well, they
standpoint.
teased Joker in the first The Batman, so we know at some point he's going to come out in the future, but probably not the second one. Like they're going to build to it.
Yes,
because it's the Joker.
Because it's and I think
Peter v. Goblin is very good.
And I think can't speak 100% to your fix, but like, is the Goblin in your fix?
No.
Yeah, mine neither. I mean, it's
you gotta build to it.
It's teased.
You gotta earn it.
Yeah, we build towards it.
Yeah.
If anything, this second movie should have been lattice work towards a Goblin. Yes.
Okay. I feel like we're almost we're nudging up to the fixes.
I'm getting mad.
I know.
I'm getting mad. Okay. One more point before we get into the fixes. You don't kill Gwen in the second movie.
No, you don't.
It's either the first one or the third one. You don't kill her in the second one. Because where do you go on the third one? Where do you go? MJ? No. You either start MJ in the second one, or you start her in the fourth one. Or you don't do her at all.
Or you don't do it at all. You don't kill Gwen unless in the second one, unless you know there's going to be a third one.
Yes.
Because that's your Empire Strikes Back moment.
Yes.
That's the low moment. We leave Peter broken and as he says in No Way Home, rageful.
Yeah.
Which is like, yo, that would have been fun to see.
It would have been fascinating.
That would have been an amazing journey. And Andrew Garfield doing that arc.
Yes.
From like his lowest moment to coming back to being a hero in a full 2-hour film like instead of the last act of No Way Home.
College age Peter, like, yes.
Like, whoa. That would have been a performance. But this is just like, oh, okay. Well, I guess she...
Going to college and his professor, Doc Ock. Yeah, would have been great. That's something that was something that banged around in my head like the whole time. I was like, oh, it could have been Dr. Ock. I'm like, no, you already did it in the second movie. You can't do it in the second movie again. Like, you can't.
Yeah.
But I love that ever since playing the Spider-Man game, I just like love the idea of Doc Ock being a mentor to Spider-Man. It's
amazing.
It's very good.
Yes.
It's like, it's the kind of thing where it's like, I know that became apparent in recent comic booking. Like, but I was like, oh, this should have been there the whole time. Like, this is good.
Spider-Man's bad guys are all science gone wrong. Where Spider-Man is the lucky instance where science went right.
Yeah.
So like seeing these people being good people.
Like how Batman is, all of his villains are mental illness going completely wrong, whereas Batman is like harnesses his mental illness into
justice.
Yeah.
There's just so much wrong with this movie.
Sorry, you were gonna make another point, and I feel like I dominated a lot of that, but
Quite all right. Here's just some points I wrote down to the movie. Just rapid fire.
Hit me.
And then we'll hit the fixes, right? Peter and Gwen should have just been together. This on again, off again thing is all bull. They just should have been pick one and go through it without the movie.
Yep.
Just one or the other, but because they went back and forth. Rhino was stupid.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad. It's also bad CG at the end of the movie.
The suit looks bad.
It's not great. The fact that like Peter's like, Gwen goes, "Are you stalking me?" And he's like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Cool." Like, nah, Gwen. This is a modern day Spider-Man. Peter, don't do that, man.
Hey,
don't like. Don't, man. That's not that's not what a hero does. That's not cool, man. No, don't stalk. It's stalker, no stalking.
Yeah.
Stalker, no stalking.
If you learned anything from the episode today, don't stalk people. All right. I think we should move on to the fixes.
Fixes!
All right.
I have to go first because Jay's is apparently super awesome.
I don't like setting the expectations for myself.
So you're just very confident in it. I like your confidence, so that's why you're going. That's why you're batting cleanup, bud.
All right, hit me.
Hello, gentlemen. Clearly you forgot about me and the Bean Fun Facts, so I'm just going to jump right in here. Today we're trying to fix 2014's The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the sequel to 2012's The Amazing Spider-Man. This movie was directed by Mark Webb, it was written by way too many people, and it stars Andrew Garfield, Emma Stone, Sally Field, Jamie Foxx, and Dane DeHaan. This movie cost around $300 million to make, and it made around $709 million at the box office. That's a Spider-Man low point at that time. Now, here's some Bean fun facts. For better or worse, these movies were made and released so that the Sony Spider-Man movie rights would not lapse when Spider-Man 4 fell apart. Now, multiple spin-offs and sequels were planned, like a Black Cat movie and a Sinister Six movie. The Sinister Six movie was actually scheduled to come out November 11th, 2016, but that was canceled along with everything else due to poor reception of The Amazing Spider-Man 2, the bad box office, and the MCU being a thing, so all of that fizzled. Now, if you care, this movie has a 51% on Rotten Tomatoes, and Amazing Spider-Man 1 has a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, in my opinion, these movies don't totally work because it presents Peter Parker as a boy of destiny, as a chosen one. And to me, that's not what this character is about. That's not what Spider-Man is about. They had to do something different because contextually, these movies came out very soon after the Raimi movies. To potentially clear a couple of things up that were previously said on this episode of the podcast, Michael Bay produced those live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle movies, and it's the Wachowskis, not the Wachowskis. Wachowski is One-Eyed Mike's last name.
So here we go. My fix is, so basically the thesis statement is that since they tried to cram in so much stuff into this movie, it ruined everything else.
Yes.
So we're going to take this as a much slower burn.
Hell yeah.
Also,
because I would have seen a third movie of this if the second one did a good job.
Yeah.
Like, easily.
They hinted at Osborn, Norman, so Norman's going to be in this.
Yeah.
And also Harry's not in this. There's no Harry, because they didn't introduce him in the first one. There's no reason to bring him back in the second. If he's not in the first one, then why is he even here?
Yeah.
So here we go. Act 1, we start the same way, but we cut out the whole parents dying thing on an airplane. It's just Spider-Man doing Spider-Man thing and stopping Alexi. Like, oh, that's the guy that's going to turn into the Rhino. Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But that's it. Here's the big difference. It's only 1 year after the first movie.
Okay.
So Gwen and Peter are juniors in high school.
Okay.
And Peter is trying his best to fulfill Captain Stacy's final request. Gwen and Peter are not dating because Peter's like, nope, I do not want to just see ghost Captain Stacy staring at me for the whole movie. So he's not dating Gwen. Meanwhile, at Oscorp, Gwen is still interning there, and there's a lot of hubbub. Like,
so in the Do It or Not, you are not.
You'll see.
Okay.
At the moment we're starting the movie, not.
Okay.
Meanwhile, at Oscorp, there's a hubbub going on because Norman's coming back. He's coming back to the home office. Oh, blah, 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 we gotta everything, gotta get it ready. Everyone clean up. Make sure your projects are ready to go. Blah, blah. Everyone's like freaking out. The boss is coming, so make sure everything looks good for the boss. And of course, Gwen's still working there, so she hears all of this. We also are gonna meet Max Dillon. It's Jamie Foxx, but it's Jamie Foxx basically from No Way Home. He knows how to groom himself.
He's cool.
He's a functioning adult.
He's not a dork.
He's not a dork. He's an electrical engineer. He's good at his job. He knows what he's doing. But he does idolize Spider-Man in the fact that he is a hero and realizes that what a hero can do.
Yeah.
Not in a stalker, weird, putting everything up on just like, man, Spider-Man's great. He's really helps the city. Like, he's a fan of Spider-Man. He likes what he does. He's like, good for him. At this point, everything's kind of like, this is the status quo of things. Seems to be going okay. Gwen contacts Peter, and after he does some Spider-Man, he swings by, and Gwen's like, I know what you're doing. You've been avoiding me for a whole year. I figured out what my dad said. Like, you're trying to just, you don't want to have me involved in, have that cop relationship that my dad and my mom had. But I'm my own person. We clearly love each other. I want to be with you.
Yeah.
I want to be with you, and we're going to be together. Like, I know you want it. Peter, I absolve you of what my dad's final wish was. I take full responsibility for my actions and being in this relationship. Great. They're in a relationship. They're dating. That's it. The arc is over.
Great.
They're just together.
Knocking it out in the first act,
That's
baby.
it. And of course, it's Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield. So there's none of that pining away, and I'm hiding. No, they're together, and it's amazing. Their scenes are great. They are a good couple. They are fun to be around. They're very good at, and she helps him Spider-Man.
Yeah,
she can call him up in the game. He's people are calling Peter why he's swinging. She can call. She could be the girl in the chair. She's good at this. So, meanwhile, at Oscorp, everyone's trying to get their projects ready to go because Norman's here, blah, 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 blah. And they shortchanged Max in his electrical engineering department. I was like, hey, you need to stay late to do the thing or whatever. Max's like, okay, you know what, fine. I drew the short straw. I'll stay and finish the project or whatever. The mishap happens. He falls in the thing. He becomes Electro. He gets his powers. Same basic thing, but it's no oh, no, my gap in my... No. There's no gap in his tooth. He just gets the powers. It's cool. When Norman does come back, Gwen just, of course, is always in the right place at the right time when she's working at Oscorp. She overhears Norman saying that he wants all of Richard Parker's research materials brought to his office immediately.
Yeah.
She tells Peter, oh, by the way, Norman's looking into your research about your dad. Oh, no. Peter's been looking into the research about his dad. They're on parallel tracks trying to figure out what the heck happened back in the past.
Interesting.
Bum, bum, bum.
Okay,
so Max is recovering from his fall into the eels with his powers, so, he realizes, basically, Max's arc is going to be the anti-Spider-Man. He's going to try to be a hero.
That's really good.
He's going to try to emulate Spider-Man.
That's really good.
But we're going to learn that with great power comes great responsibility, and there's a couple character flaws that Max has that's going to keep him from doing that. So we're going to see him on the same path, but just he makes a couple of choices.
I like that a lot.
And so Max is going to go out and try to help Spider-Man. And
he's kind of a little bit of a showboat and kind of a little bit of doesn't really realize the power. Okay.
He's a little older. He's been ground down a little bit more.
Yeah.
He's people have been picked on him. Even though he's Jamie Foxx and he's attractive and he's very smart. And has a good job. They're just a couple little things, flaws in his personality. Just he's got electrical powers. Electrical powers are very good. You can do a lot of electrical powers.
You can also accidentally hurt a
lot of people. Exactly, and that's what's going to happen. Because swinging around with webs is one thing. Of course, Spider-Man can hurt a lot of people, but that's there's a little bit more control there. But with electricity, as Maxwell knows, he is an electrical engineer. That stuff can get out of hand immediately, and people can get fried and all sorts of stuff. There's that arc through Act 2. Max's descent, or he's trying to help, but just doesn't know what he's doing. Spider-Man shows up, is nice, gives him a couple pointers, but it just kind of irks Max a little bit. It just kind of wait a second, you're a kid. I'm an adult. I'm an adult. It rankles him just a little, where you just kind of see the seeds of just meanwhile, Norman's figuring out what happened with Richard in the past, and both Peter and Norman are figuring out a little bit more.
As much as we were frustrated by his father and the research being part of it, we both kept that in our fix. So maybe they were onto something.
Well, if done correctly.
Yeah. Okay.
They didn't do it correctly in the movie.
Yeah.
So Norman's starting to put two and two together. We're going to see Norman the businessman, Norman the scientist. Norman's like a very complex character. And he's starting to figure stuff out.
Do you know who you're casting as Norman?
I mean, the actor who did play him for that one scene is a good actor, but I didn't really think
For
about
me,
it.
Michael Shannon.
Ooh, that's a good actor. Good casting.
He's a great. He's got, because we all know they already cast the best person.
Yes, they did.
Like, I'm sorry, Willem Dafoe is Norman
Yeah,
Osborn.
he's very good.
Like, and James DeFranco as Harry's good too. Like, it was good.
Yeah. So Norman's starting to figure stuff out, and I was like, wait a second. Our research was about spiders, and now Spider-Man. Something's adding up here. I don't know what it is yet. I got an idea, though. So Norman Osborn is going to be the businessman and try to schmooze Spider-Man because he saved his company and the city that he so loves, New York City, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Come to Oscorp, I want to, present you with blah, 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 and tries to get information out of Spider-Man. But Peter figures out kind of what's going on, but he's like, I don't trust you. But then he invites Peter to Oscorp because he wants his Richard's son to show up.
Sure.
He doesn't know that Peter's Spider-Man yet. He's like, but okay, so that's the thing that with Spider-Man didn't work, but I'd have one more angle. Richard's son. Peter comes to Oscorp because he's also trying to find information. So they have a very interesting scene where they're both trying to get information out of each other.
Yes.
But we see Norman put it together because too many things are adding up.
Yeah.
And it seems like, wait a second, Peter could be Spider-Man. Oh, he's not sure, but he's got an inkling. It's like, I think it might be. But either way, he knows that Spider-Man probably came from the Oscorp research, and so he needs to get Spider-Man's blood. That could be the key to this. The thing that's been eluding him for all these years.
Yes.
It's the reason why he had Richard and his wife killed in the airplane. So Max eventually does something a little too wrong. They arrest him. Peter helps. And Max is just like, I'm just trying to, like, he's starting to, like, I'm just trying to do good. Why are you rebuffing me from, and so we see those character flaws kind of pop up. Norman, sees the footage like, oh, this is another guy that came from Oscorp technology. Oh, okay. Gets Max out of jail. It's like, I need your help. I need you to get Spider-Man's blood for me. Basically the same premises from the movie, which is good, but if we built to it correctly.
If you layer it right.
Yes. So Max is like, he just kind of learns the wrong lesson.
Well, I think Norman would also structure it to Max being like, hey, like, you guys are both accidents here, but surprisingly, you've survived. And if we can just do a little bit of study on the both of you, like, we could help a lot of people.
Yeah.
Like, you want to help people. So help us.
Because look at all the research. I actually wrote this up. Look at all the research that we do at Oscorp. Like, he takes them down to the R&D section. And it's like, I have Dr. Otto Octavius working on prosthetics for amputees. And Dr. Connors was working on regeneration. Your department was working on sustainable power sources. Like, Oscorp's doing a lot of good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of research going in a lot of different fields of science, and we can also see other things of like the beginnings of the rhino suit of different exoskeleton stuff. Like, oh, that could be rhino, that could be scorpion. Like, we see it's teased a little bit more. It's not just like, oh look, Vulture's wings, oh look, Doc Ock's arms. It's more like the beginnings of the tech that will, eventually end up on bad guys.
Yes.
Not to just blah blah blah. And I like that's very good. Of like, hey, you can still do good. We just need Spider-Man's blood to do more good.
Yeah.
So
because he refuses
to help
cooperate.
Yeah. And I know you're a hero. I know in your heart you want to be a hero.
Yep.
Norman plays him because he's a businessman. He's very smart.
Really good.
So Electro causes a blackout of New York City.
Cool.
At the beginning of Act 3. And now we get to see New York City. Were you here during the blackout in 2005?
No.
It was nuts.
I'm sure it was very scary.
So we're gonna do that. But we're actually gonna hold on this blackout and see some of the good. There's a lot of good things happen in the city. Like, a lot of people were looking out for each other, and there was a lot of New York
still
heart,
probably really scary.
but it was also really scary. So I see a lot of good, New Yorkers, New Yorkers, taking care of each other. Like, no one messes with my city. It's great. But at the same time, a lot of bad things are happening too. Like, some people are taking advantage of it. Of course, it's a Marvel city, so bad things are happening in the dark. So Spider-Man's out there. Like, we see him trying to stop all this petty crime during the blackout, and he's doing a good job. He's also getting worn down a little bit.
Yeah.
Because they did this on purpose to wear him down. So like later on in the night, as Peter's getting a little tired, that's when Electro attacks. Now they have this big fight. And then they had this whole big moment of just like, Max, I thought you wanted to be a hero. What are you doing? What are you doing, Spider-Man? You could be helping everybody, but you're not. You're keeping your secrets to yourself. They kind of had that tete-a-tete. The psychology.
Electro's like, I don't wear a mask. Everyone knows who I am. Mm-hmm. Who are you?
Exactly. Peter finally gets kind of finds an angle on him and finally gets to him.
Yeah.
And Electro finally goes like, fine, you know what? I guess maybe I am a villain to you, and stabs him with a needle and gets an ampule full of his blood. Peter knocks it away and the fight continues. Gwen shows up to help because she's like, I know stuff about these things, and it's fine. She can also be girl in the chair. So, but they do basically the same thing. They can turn the power back on and overload Max. But if they're going to overload Max, and I think because he has to die because of what happens in No Way Home, and I'm trying to keep that.
Yes.
That stuff all still works. That Jamie Foxx is going to have a...
We could have also... I will say this, though. If this movie had gone well and we got in a third one, they could have... we could have had another Norman Osborn in the tank, and that would have been really interesting between him and...
Yes.
As opposed to Electro. Just saying.
Yes, no. Oh, yeah.
You're not completely
Osborns?
destroying...
Yeah.
Two
Osborns? Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
uh-huh.
Yeah. But Jamie Foxx, he's a very good actor. So, he's going to lament the fact that Spider-Man's killing him.
Yeah.
It's going to be, kind of emotional. He was just trying to do the right thing. I don't deserve to die.
Yeah.
But maybe he didn't die. Maybe he's, is Electro. It doesn't matter. Anyways, Gwen and Peter, yay, we did it. We saved the city. Electro's gone. But what they don't see is some little guy in the shadows. You open up it, grabbing the ampule and running away. And then Norman's got the blood. And then Peter and Gwen are all right. And they're, they graduate from junior year. And everything, seemingly, is okay. Mid-credit scene, Norman's got the blood, runs a test on it, and then he just starts laughing, and it kind of sounds like the Goblin laughing at the end. Fade to black.
Hell yeah.
And then, at the very end, after mid-credit scene, at the one point, Peter smashes the calculator because he was trying to figure stuff out, and there was a flash drive and tokens. Or a very early, maybe a disk, something very early on of data storage that just had enough information to be just some type of information that doesn't exactly lead him to the underground subway station.
Yeah.
At the mid-credit scene, he figures out about the underground subway station. Then he goes to it. Then he opens it up and he turns on the computer. And he's like, Peter, I hope you're seeing this. We have a lot to talk about. And then that's
cool.
That's it. That information will be relayed in the next movie.
Yes.
Because in the next movie, Amazing Spider-Man 3, I wrote it out real quick. It's Peter versus Norman.
Yeah.
It's Norman psychologically destroys Peter. He goes after Aunt May. He goes after Gwen.
Yeah.
We learn about all the stuff in the subway car.
As the Goblin.
As Goblin.
Yeah.
He eventually gets the blood. He's going to use it as a serum, but it's going to be ultimate Goblin.
Yes.
So it's kind of what we saw in Spider-Verse. Gwen decides to go to London. Now this is their senior year, so they're going to graduate. Gwen wants to go to Oxford. Peter's going to go with her. They are trying to move on with their life.
Yeah.
And they're going to stay together. But Norman is this mutant goblin thing that's wrecking everything and destroying Peter's life because he's the son of the man that kept him from this cure for 20 or 15 years or so. And then in doing so, he's going to drop Gwen. And Gwen dies at the end of this movie. And then he stays as and then he's rageful, and then Norman also gets killed.
We have very similar things going on. I think the 3-act trilogy needs to complete with the Goblin as the third movie.
Yeah,
very obviously.
If you don't start there, you're in there.
That was great.
Thank you.
Very good. Mine is it's I was like, yeah, we were really ragging on the dad being a scientist, but we both kind of come back to that.
But if you're gonna do it, there's ways to do it right.
Yeah. Okay, my fix.
Yep, there we go.
I realized that some of these there should be some layering here. That if I were really actually taking a pass of the script, I would layer a little bit more.
Sure.
But these are kind of more bullet pointy stuff.
Mm-hmm,
so from a first act perspective, know that I know this needs to be layered a little bit better.
Sure.
Again, I'm starting my movie exactly the same. Oh great, we're the car chase. Awesome. He's the Rhino at some point. Neat.
Great. Later, yeah.
That's good. It was a great sequence. Really, really fun. Him catching the car by making the that's Spider-Man.
Yeah,
dude.
man.
Peter shows up late to his graduation. much like in the first movie. We see a Gwen Stacy who is kind of fed up with Peter showing up late to things and Peter kind of putting Spider-Man first a little bit.
Okay.
It's the kind of thing she's like, I think it's great that you're Spider-Man, but like, I just want to be in the know. I just like don't like not knowing where you are.
Yeah.
Like, and what you're doing, because like I don't want to have to find you the way that my mom found my dad. And so all of the sequences of them kind of going on dates after this fact and like the dim sum situation, like he is still seeing Dennis Leary.
Yes.
Dennis Leary at places, and it's starting to get to him, and so like their relationship kind of deteriorates.
Oh, okay.
We find out about the Oxford situation, and we still have that same scene. Gwen goes to London and stays in London.
Whoa. Okay.
The first act of this movie, Gwen is out of the picture.
Interesting.
And I imagine that scene at the very
okay.
end, like when he's like, I have something to say, and then never ends up saying it. Like it begins to a point where Gwen is like, you know what you need to say in order to get me to stay, but I know you're not going to say it.
Wow.
And then he doesn't, so it's a little bit more confrontational. And she was like, I know you're thinking it. I know you feel it. I know you believe it, but I need you to say it. And I know you can't do that for so many different reasons, for reasons that probably have nothing to do with me. You can't say it. And she goes to London.
Wow.
So Gwen is off the table for
Okay.
this movie. All the while, interstitched with this, Peter is home, and he gets a knock at the door, and it's like a security team that basically is like, hello, like we're here about your Oscorp summer internship application. He's like, okay. And they're like, we just need to sweep the house. And then you see a security team like kind of sweep the house. They're like, clear. And then eventually Norman Osborn walks in the door, played by Michael Shannon.
Yeah.
And he wants to talk to Peter about his application for an internship at Oscorp.
Uh-oh.
Now, in the middle of, it's a lot of pleasantries, and it's like,
Sure.
oh, you go to this school. Oh, my son was there for a time, but it didn't quite work out. But like, he's like, I have a son your age, and I feel like the two of you would get along. And like, I think there's like, from your resume, like this seems like you would get along with my son. And honestly, like you have a great application. He's like, why are you here? Mm-hmm. And then when the conversation kind of starts to turn that way, May gets home.
Uh-oh.
There is a particularly heated scene between Aunt May and Norman, and she's like, after everything we've been through as a family, because of everything that happened at Oscorp, you think you're just gonna swoop in here and offer an intern? Like, she is not happy with seeing Norman.
Of course
Osborn.
not. Yeah.
And he is like very clearly knows who she is and is not thrilled to see her either. Like, it's very clear that like they've had like May's been to some Oscorp Christmas parties and maybe like leaned into him a little too hard, and he's like, I wanted to do right by the Parkers. Like after everything, like I feel like I could give Peter a leg up. And then he's like, is this about my dad? And he's like, yeah. After everything that's happened, like I wanted to formally invite you to be part of the Oscorp family. The Parkers have been a part of the Oscorp family since its inception, and I just feel like it would be a great thing for you to do the internship here. And he's like, okay. And May's not having it, but Peter's like, look, I didn't really get any other acceptance letters, so I'm kind of like in that Andrew Garfield, like I'm kind of May. There's no one else is really chomping at the bit to hire old Peter Parker, so I got to do it. She's like, okay, and she's like, it'd be kind of nice to know someone that knew my dad. Peter shows up to his internship and meets Harry Osborn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they do actually become very close friends.
Yeah, but this is the first meeting, though.
We get to see
Yes.
like them working in the labs together late at night, and like doing like intern stuff and kind of goofing around. In this, Harry's actually handicapped.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure how, in some capacity. Doesn't really affect like their friendship at all. It's just a part of the story. Through him working at Oscorp and him befriending Harry, he finds out through like the grapevine that there have been a string of robberies at Oscorp facilities.
Okay.
And Norman's like freaking out because he's like there's so many different lines, like so many different like balls in the air right now. Like they're stealing like all sorts of random stuff. none of it makes sense. I don't know why they're stealing all these specific things. And so Peter, as Spider-Man, goes where he thinks the next robbery might be. He's like scoping out all of the warehouses. Warehouse he does go to does indeed have a break-in. Peter, upon stopping the person that is breaking in, finds a young Felicia Hardy as Black Cat.
What?
Because if we're taking Gwen out of the picture for a little bit, we're giving Felicia Hardy, and we're giving Black Cat.
Okay, what's up, Felicia? Yeah, nice. Okay.
We find her trying to steal the MacGuffin from Oscorp because she's just hired to steal it.
Yeah, she's very good at it.
But she's very much like Peter. She's wisecracking. She's really like she's good at what she does.
She is.
She's kind
also
of
smoking hot.
She's also smoking hot, and she's a perfect foil for Peter.
Yeah, she is.
She's like ideally the perfect partner for Peter.
Kind of.
With quotation marks.
Yeah.
But as he stops her from stealing the thing,
Burglaring,
and trying to find information from her, another team of burglars attack the warehouse, and it is Shocker and his gang of like thieves. Like,
okay.
Shocker is like a like
lieutenant,
or just he's just a D-list hero for hire.
Sure.
Who was also quote hired to steal this thing, and Black Cat's and Felicia's like, I don't. Like I thought I was hired to steal this.
Uh-oh.
Like I don't know what they're doing here. Like this isn't the first time this has happened. Through Black Cat and Spider-Man fighting Shocker and the gang, because she's like, well, now I have a buddy. Like we might have a leg up of fighting these guys.
Yeah.
Shocker inevitably gets away with the MacGuffin. I imagine there's kind of like a web-slinging, like, rooftop conversation between Spider-Man and Black Cat, and Black Cat is visibly frustrated with that not going correctly. Not because she didn't get the MacGuffin, but because she doesn't know why Kingpin hired a second crew.
I was wondering if you were going to say that word.
And she was like, if he doesn't trust me, she was like, I've gotten everything else that I was hired to get. I don't know why he's hiring a second crew. Like, I've delivered everything where I've been told to deliver it. I haven't gotten any word from them that anything was going wrong. I don't know why. She's pissed. And Peter was like, well, let's just go talk to Kingpin. She's like, you don't just go talk to Kingpin. She's like, also, like, I'm in so deep with him, like, you have no idea. This isn't the kind of thing you just do. And Peter's like, of course you do. Because he's Peter Parker and he doesn't know anything. After this, as Peter is working at Oscorp, he's starting to work closer and closer with Norman the entire time and wants to know more about his dad. He discovers that, like, what his father was working on, similar stuff to the regular movie. And we figure out that Norman is trying to... What he's trying to do is, like, basically, like, kind of solve the human genome. And he's trying to, like... He's like, I'm trying to, like... There's so many things about other DNA sequences that, like, we could just, like, improve... We could make, like, the perfect person. Like, we could just create an environment in which, like, the human body would work as intended.
Right.
For like, it's insane. Like, the what your father was working on was groundbreaking. And through their conversation, he's also alluding to the fact that it was, like, he's like, I could save Harry. Like, I could cure Harry. Like, and he's like, and that's kind of like the ploy to get in there. He asks Peter if his dad has any research or anything left over at the house, if he knew there was anything in storage or anything, if he could get his hands on it, like, he could probably, like, figure out what was going on with this whole Spider-Man thing. Because he's like, Spider-Man, like, won't come. And so Peter goes home and tries to get the research from Aunt May. We have that similar scene where she's like, doesn't want to give it to him.
Yeah,
like,
no.
We don't need to open
Yep.
this. Harry finds out that Peter is quote unquote friends with Spider-Man.
Right.
And Norman asks Peter if Spider-Man will just come and be studied a little bit. All the while, through the whole, this would be layered in, of course.
Sure.
All the while that, like, Harry and Peter are working on stuff, they befriend one of the janitors at Oscorp.
Okay.
Who's very clearly he is on like parole. He's an ex-con, nice guy, but, like, tatted up, like, clearly been to prison for a long time. A janitor named Matt Gargan. But they like him. He's funny. He's cool. He's like just trying to keep his nose clean. He's like, I'm not going back. But he's like bigger dude, like,
big dude.
You know, like,
yes, I do know. Yeah,
he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
like, I can't, like, guys, I can't go back to prison. Like, but he's very endearing. We like him a lot. All the while, Black Cat and Spider-Man eventually infiltrate Kingpin's hideout. Huge action sequence. They fight their way all the way to the top.
Cool.
And they meet up with Kingpin. And through their conversation with Kingpin didn't hire anybody else. And he also didn't hire her to steal what she was stealing. He was like, I have bigger plans for you. He was like, you have a debt, but this is not how you're repaying it. And she's like, what? Oh, you know what? No. No. That's not, it wasn't that he didn't hire Black Cat. He found out that people were trying to hire people to steal these specific things. And so he hired Felicia because he was like, if people are trying to get these stolen, like if we steal them first, I can just sell them to the highest bidder.
Yeah. I'm a businessman.
So he did hire, sorry, that's incorrect. Spider-Man, Peter actually goes to meet Norman as Spider-Man.
Okay.
But the entire time his spider sense is wooging out.
Sure.
So Spider-Man bails,
mm-hmm.
and it gets to a point where Norman and Peter have already gone through like all of the research that he brought, and yada yada yada. And Norman just says, "Well, if you won't come the hard way, or if you won't come the easy way," and we see a sequence of Norman just being like, "Hey Mac," like cleaning up in his office and being like, "You know what, Mac? Actually, can I show you something in the lab?" And we find out we find out through a montage of building the Scorpion that Norman has been stealing from himself, so nobody at Oscorp knows what he's doing. Is stealing all the parts in order to build the Scorpion suit.
What?
Because he knew that he was going to have to get Spider-Man one way or the other.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, there's no easier way to catch a spider than with the Scorpion. And it's also like kind of the first foray into like, human enhancement.
Sure.
And so Scorpion is Matt Gargan.
Right.
But he's a nicer guy. And there's very clearly like a chemical situation, and there's also a computerized system to kind of control Gargan a little bit.
This is, oh man, you just made this really dramatic and like
so
sad.
Black Cat and Spider-Man fight the Scorpion, but he finds out like halfway through the fight that it's Mac, and he's like, and communicates that to Felicia, and is like very clearly like, this guy wouldn't hurt a fly, like like we gotta save him. Like, I don't know how to figure, like, I don't know how, like, we can defeat him.
We gotta get him out of this thing,
Like, once we defeat him, like, we gotta figure out a way to get him out of this and save this guy. But they end up victorious at the end of the fight. Like, they defeat Scorpion, saves the day, all is well in New York. He's like, cool, like, we can save Mac. And Felicia's like, about that. Yeah, that's not happening. I owe a lot of money. Like, you have no idea what I owe to these people. Like, I'm not free and clear yet. And we see Kingpin's guys show up and take
Mac.
Scorpion away.
Oh no!
And Felicia throws the driver like a software, like a little like CD. It's like all the software for running that thing should be on there. Like I stole that while I stole that while they were fighting. Yeah, like that should be all that you need. Like, are we square? And he's like, as far as I can tell, we're square. And Felicia's like,
cool, bye. Bye, Felicia.
Peter's just like, after that, like, can't even deal with her and like can't even handle it. And so that's kind of the end of the movie at that point.
Sure.
But the post-credit sequence is Norman going through Richard's research, and then gets to the point where he's like, I encoded my own DNA to these spiders, so like the only person that it really could affect would be me, or like anyone with like from my genetic line. And Norman finally goes, huh, I had a feeling. And that's when he realizes that Peter is Spider-Man. That's the end of the movie.
And that takes you to the third movie, which is Norman v. Spider-Man.
Which is the Goblin.
Yeah.
Let's just do the Goblin. Yeah. Gwen Stacy comes back. After he realizes that, like, oh, I do actually love Gwen. I thought I loved this other person, and like, I need to go back to the person I actually can trust.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Spider-Man.
Go get him, Spidey.
Go get him, Spidey. These are some good fixes, man.
Yes.
This is good.
Yeah.
Good.
Norman Osborn, a good character. A character you don't tease and kill in one scene.
No, you don't. You don't. You don't. You can't catch the audio meeting, but the faces I'm making right now.
Norman Osborn, such a good character that you will rewind time and go through the multiverse to make sure
Yeah.
you can have him in another movie.
Yeah.
He's that good.
Yeah, he's that good. And when you put Iron Patriot in another movie, it really bothers me. Because I'm like, he's not good. That's not a good guy. That's the Goblin in an Iron Man suit. That's bad news.
Yes.
No, thank you. Well, we did it, everybody.
We did it!
Thank you guys so much for listening. If you're catching this wherever you catch podcatches, if you wouldn't mind leaving us 5 stars and a quick review, it warms my heart. I really appreciate it. Also, if you're catching this on YouTube, you know what to do. Like, subscribe, hit that bell, do that YouTube that you do so well. We love making this show, and I'm probably taking care of my baby boy right now. And
Quite possibly.
So thank you guys almost for supporting the Patreon, and thank you guys for watching all the videos. And I love that we get to do this every week, and I will be back very, very soon. And as we end every episode, heartbreak feels good in a place like this.
It's the slow or fast incoming ground that you just don't see.
Oh!
Oh!
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody!